I'm here now with Owen Finneran of Farm Eye, and Owen, thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
So listen, we know that Farm Eye really focuses on soil health, soil sampling, and you have some carbon programs as well. You know, we know that soil can sequester carbon from the atmosphere, but often we don't know a whole lot more than that, and I suppose that's where Farm Eye can come in. So looking firstly to your carbon programs, can you tell me a little bit more about what you do on that front?
Okay, so I suppose the biggest thing in terms of soil and soil carbon from the farmer's point of view is that anything that is, any soil that's sustainably managed, that soil will be pulling carbon from the atmosphere and putting it underground. So farmers have a unique opportunity in that respect to be able to, I suppose, actively help in terms of the climate change fight.
And you hear, trees taking carbon, and sometimes you hear about bogs as well, and peatlands and all that, but actually general soils like we see right outside the building here can do it too.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously there are exceptions. So if you have, a very degraded soil or a soil that has been maybe in continuous ploughed tillage for a long period of time, that soil may not be sequestering carbon. Also, if you have a drained peat soil that's intensively managed, it would also not be sequestering carbon. But in the main, approximately 90% of mineral soils in Ireland will be building carbon from one year to the next.
Okay, and so what does Farm Eye do then to help farmers manage that? I mean, is it management? Is it, more in terms of data on how much you can sequester on your farm?
Yeah.
What role do you play in that?
So it's a good question. The Farm Eye role is mainly around measurement and verification.
Okay.
So we provide software and technology services to be able to, I suppose, verifiably measure that carbon in part of a field. We'll allow the trained sampler to come back to that exact same location because it's all measured by GPS in a year's time, 2 years' time. And we have an ISO verified protocol which allows the calculation of the change in carbon from 1 year to the next.
Okay, so when farmers have this information from your own software, they can monitor how much is being sequestered, they can take, maybe actions to kind of further the progress and things like that. And I suppose, climate change is the name of the game these days. Recently, not too long ago, we had the sectoral emissions targets, and there's lots of, rumours going around about what will have to be done, and action will certainly have to be taken. And I suppose looking at your technology, Teagasc and other bodies like that will be developing things like this that's in the works, and regulations are probably going to come down the line too. But I suppose you are up and running already, so you're kind of preempting all of that. You're ahead of the curve nearly, are you?
Yeah, well, I suppose look at all parts, all stakeholders will have to be involved, from the farmers through to the regulatory bodies. And as I say, where we come in is on the data capture, measurement and verification. It is key, if you want to be able to say that you had 100 tonnes of soil sequestered on your farm this year, you need the verifiable data to back that up.
Okay, so you can't just go around saying that you have to be able to prove it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very important.
And turning to soil then, soil health and all of that, I know you were involved in the National Soil Sampling Programme. Actually, maybe tell me a little bit about how that went.
Yeah, so that was quite a large pilot programme run by the Department of Agriculture. So they look to collect up to 100,000 geotag soil samples all across Ireland. So across all 26 counties and all farm types and soil types.
Okay, and when, let's say now I want to go out and take a sample of my soil. Am I going out with a little test tube and digging up a bit with a shovel, or is it more technical than that?
So typically the sample is taken, the sampler follows a GPS tracked path across the field. So you take a representative sample that goes into a bag which is barcoded, sent to the laboratory, and everything is tracked through the online mapping system.
Okay. I suppose then looking to an issue that's we've heard a lot recently about, I suppose, efficiency. Everybody wants to become more efficient. Efficiency means savings in money, time, labour. All of these things are on everybody's lips, and one of the particular issues is fertiliser. I mean, given geopolitical events and the pandemic and things like that, prices have shot up. I mean, we know that there's some farmers in dire straits in terms of not being able to get it, not being able to afford it. How can soil sampling play a role, I suppose? If you don't know what's under the ground, you don't know what you're deficient in.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's the old adage, if you can't measure it, you can't manage it.
Yeah.
So measurement is key.
Yeah.
It used to be the case that, if you saved a bag of fertiliser, that would would save you the price of the soil test.
Yeah.
But now with fertilizer, after increasing, like you say, you get 3 soil tests for the price of the bag of fertilizer. So
wow.
it's
for
much
one
more
bag.
exactly. So it's much more cost efficient to the farmer to do their proper soil analysis and fertilizer planning, even than it was 2-3 years ago.
Okay, so it's really important to figure out what you're. I suppose if you're putting down fertilizer or treatments on your ground, but it's not necessarily treating what you're deficient in, you're not saving yourself there. You're shooting yourself in the foot. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I suppose then, looking to you mentioned price and the money that you can save. What are the price points? Is there? I'm sure there's lots of factors that it depends on. Looking to the size of your farm, how much needs to be tested. But can you give us a sense of how much it would cost for a farmer?
Yeah, so you're talking in a range from €2 to €5 per acre to do the standard soil analysis. If you're doing more in-depth analysis or carbon analysis, for example, it could be from €5 to €9 per acre.
Okay, and would you get, your regular farmers coming to you, or is this more of a department, regulatory bodies, things like that?
So it depends, yeah. So we'd have some farmers who look to do their soil analysis for regulatory purposes, and then we have others who are primarily, I suppose, more intensive farmers, ones who would be using more fertilizer, and it's very much more worth their while to invest the time and the money into a good soil health program.
Okay, great. Well, listen, Owen, thanks for joining me. Are you here for the next 2 days?
We are, yeah.
Okay,
so we're
great.
here on the stand for the next 2 days.
Brilliant. And are you hoping to have a good turnover? What's the flow been like so far?
It's brilliant. It's great seeing all the old faces from the last few years. It's great. We've missed them for the last 2 years.
Absolutely, yeah. It's busy ploughing considering that we were gone for a few years there. So listen, best of luck and thanks for joining me, Owen.
Thank you.
Thanks.